Nearly 1 year ago, a prison transport bus headed from Abilene to El Paso collided with a moving train, changing the lives of 15 families forever. The horrific crash happened the morning of January 14th near Penwell, killing 2 correctional officers and 8 inmates. 5 passengers survived the crash, including 39-year-old correctional officer Jason Self.
CBS 7's Deanne Lopez visited the Self family at their home in Abilene to see how he's doing, but she didn't make the trip alone. She brought along a special person whose life was also impacted by the crash that morning. Deanne joins us now from the studio with this emotional story. Deanne?
Jay and Tatum, a living miracle is how doctors describe correctional officer Jason Self. The father of 5 has been told by every one of his doctors that if it weren't for the initial care he received at the scene of the crash, he'd be dead right now.
So is this Mr. Orlando?
Yes, ma'am.
It was an emotional moment. Jason and his wife Michelle met the EMT who saved his life.
Thank you.
In the 10 years that Orlando Rios has been with the Odessa Fire and Rescue Department, he's never seen or worked a crash as horrific as the one Jason was in.
I'd imagine that wreck over and over and over.
It was just before 8 a.m. when the prison transport bus hit a damaged guardrail on I-20 near Penwell. The driver lost control and skidded off an icy overpass and down an embankment where it collided with a passing train.
It didn't seem like it was just no time at all. That stuff in the back of the bus just shot to that far wall.
Right.
And I guess that's when the bus left the road, the initial,
right.
Down, and then it just seemed like it moving, and that's all I can remember.
Jason, 2 of his fellow correctional officers, and 12 inmates were on their way from the Middleton prison in Abilene to the Sanchez unit in El Paso. Minutes before reaching Penwell, one of the other correctional officers swapped spots with Jason, who was driving at the time, prompting him to take a seat in the back of the bus.
They said that the only seat that was still attached to the bus was the one I was in. They said every other seat in the bus was
they were
just gone,
knocked out of the bolts.
Orlando and his partner were the first paramedics to arrive at the scene. They knew they had to act quickly but carefully. After assessing the wreck, it looked like the back of the bus would be the easiest path to reach what appeared to be multiple lifeless bodies. People on the scene helped Orlando open the back door.
I couldn't tell what was what.
Debris was scattered everywhere, blocking all paths to the front of the bus. Orlando was getting ready to close the door when he saw fingers slowly moving. One had a wedding ring on it.
And it was shining. The sun wasn't out, but it was still shining. And I explained to Jason, with all the blood on him and everything, that ring stuck out. Just kept telling me to get him home, keep him alive, talk to him. He's married, has a baby.
Orlando expected spinal injuries, so he immediately called for a device known as a KED. The device, which is much like a brace, was wrapped around Jason's body to keep his head, neck, and torso from moving.
Come to find out, his neck was broken 3 different pieces, and a doctor said that man and that device saved your life.
There isn't a day that's gone by that Orlando hasn't stopped to think of how Jason's recovery is going. He feared that Jason would never be able to walk again.
How does it feel, to be here right now?
Very, very warming, I guess, very heartfelt. Just to see your children, hanging out with you, and just your family continues. So.
I love him so much.
Are you glad Daddy's home?
I'm glad that Orlando got my dad out of the bus and saved him and saved his life.
Although Jason continues to make astonishing improvements, he still has a long road ahead. Doctors say it will be another 2 years until they know what injuries are permanent and which are not. Aside from breaking his neck, Jason also suffered a broken jaw, left shoulder blade, arm, ribs, collapsed lung, and partial brain damage.
Sometimes I have a hard time remembering things, or when I'm talking, I lose track kind of what I'm talking about, or I can't find the words that I'm looking for. I can't I can draw blanks.
What worries the family the most is the fear of the unknown. Just 10 years shy of his retirement, Jason thought his family's future was secure.
It just stresses me out. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what like looking for a job. If I had to go look for a job tomorrow, I'd be scared to death. I wouldn't know, who would hire me,
Jason is still on the Middleton prison's payroll, and his medical bills are being taken care of by the state. But the family has concerns about how long that financial support will continue. In the meantime, he tries to keep it all together. He says some days are good and others can be a struggle.
Every time I look at the mirror, I see these scars. It's just a constant reminder. And the pain every day, it's hard to get past. Hard to get over that hump.
But with his wife and kids by his side and the tremendous amount of support from his community and complete strangers, Jason remains faithful. His family has a message for the man who saved his life.
Tonight is probably the first night he's going to be able to go to bed, and he's like, I know how he's doing tonight. I know he's at home. I know he's with his kids. I know how he's doing tonight. And he's going to sleep good because he knows he has an end. But I want him to know that this isn't an end. This is a beginning. Because through this all, we have all developed a whole new family. And I want him to know that he is a part of ours.
Deanne Lopez, CBS 7 News.